So Gallup did a new poll, and this is fascinating. Support for a third party in the U.S. just hit a record high point. It's a record. So 62% of the country says a third party is needed. That's up from 57% in September. That's already incredibly high, but now it's 62%. This is the highest support for a third party by 1 percentage point, and a record high 63% of Republicans favor a third party. So that's even more interesting, because what that means is most Republicans are really liking the idea of a right-wing third party now. And I would guess it's namely because Donald Trump sort of floated the idea, and there was leaks about this in the media, that he wants to start the Patriot Party, which will be, to counter the Republicans. And so if he were to do that, see, the dynamics here are fascinating, because it's effectively rigged in this country against third parties. I mean, they make it impossible for you to win with a third party. They really do. It's so basically, whenever people try to do the third party stuff, if I'm being honest, it's self-disenfranchisement. It's like, hey, go waste all your energy over here, and thank you, we appreciate that. Love the establishment. So that's really the dynamic at play here. But if you have the former president of the United States do this, okay, can he get 10%, 15% of that Republican base that will stick with him and the Patriot Party, and no matter what, even if they have to just write the name in, because it might be a pain in the ass to get anything on the ballot. Who knows if they'll be able to get on the ballot in these states? But I mean, think about it. If he can make it so that these Patriot Party people are always getting 10 to 15% of the vote from the Republicans, that alone destroys the Republican Party. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That would just flat out destroy the Republican Party, and it would clear the path for a Democrat to get into office till the end of time. Because the way it would function in reality is there would be a splitting of that right-wing base vote, and they would never be able to get enough money, unless then they do some sort of ranked choice voting thing. See, that at that point, you might have the Republicans support a ranked choice voting idea just so that they could still stay competitive in a situation like that. But listen, in my opinion, go ahead, Trump. Start your third party. I wish you the best, because if he does that, it'll just utterly destroy the Republicans. Now, beyond that, I do want to say, because it is true, like, I love the idea of having a multi-party system, but in order to do that, we need to change the structure of the entire system, and nobody should lie to themselves on that point. You know what I mean? Unless and until we actually change the structure of the system, it's just self-disenfranchisement and a waste of time. Now, in an ideal world, would I change the system? Absolutely. Like I said, I want to have a multi-party system, but we don't have that system. So my approach to this has always been, I'm not going to actively, if there's third-party attempts on the left, and there is, I mean, the Green Party is usually on the ballot in 46 to 48 states, I'm not going to badmouth them, put them down, voter shame people, because I want to see some sort of success come from that. I really don't think it's ever going to happen, but I want to see it. And so since I want to see it, my general approach to all this stuff is what I call an all-the-above approach. And I asked Noam Chomsky about this, and he actually said the exact same thing, and that made me happy. He was like, I just think we should throw everything at the wall and put all of our effort into a variety of avenues, and that's going to lead to our best, chance of success in the long term. And so, I mean, that's what my instinct says. My instinct says the same thing. That in the long term, yeah, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, so you don't put all your eggs in the taking over the Democratic Party basket, which I think is the way that is really the only structural way you can succeed at this point in time. But I'm not going to actively oppose people for trying the third party path, because as long as I think your heart's in the right place, then you have my support. And a lot of the people who are trying to get some sort of third party, their heart's in the right place, again, I don't think it's going to work, but it doesn't really matter. If there's any chance it helps even a little bit, fine. Then do it and I'll support you. But there also is, I should say this as well, it's not going to be what people think, which is like a third party will get so viable on the left that then the Democrats will have to take them seriously and form a coalition, and they'll start listening to the concerns of this third party. It's not going to happen because we already saw the dynamic. Look at 2016. The Green Party got what, 2% of the vote, something incredibly small, and it's not like the Democrats said, well, now we must work with them because we needed their votes to win. It was the opposite. They started shitting on them more and blaming them for the loss. And so I think they'll just keep shitting on them and blaming them for the loss. And we have to look forward to forever. Like, that's how it's going to unfold. But again, we need to exhaust every avenue to try to win. So if people go down this path, by all means. And listen, on paper, like in theory, it is the approach because 62% of the country wants it. It just so happens that the system is beyond rigged against it, that they make it fucking impossible unless you do structural reform. You know what I mean? So, but since everybody's heart is on this page, including mine, like my heart is on this page, that like fresh start idea, you should exhaust it and see what happens. And hopefully there's some upside that comes out of it that I haven't, been able to determine or break down yet. But there's a reason why this is a record high number, ladies and gentlemen. And that's because the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are not even close to representing you. And people get that, man, on a gut instinct level. Everybody understands that.